Mr. Osman Sultan, CEO, do. Please, Osman. Thank you, Tony. Thank you for coming.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. And rather than having a formal presentation in regard that really you have an audience of great experts, I thought that the best thing I could do today is just go on a chat like the type of debates we have in-house, because I think that these debates are the same, or should be at least the same, and illustrative of a lot of things that are happening. Now, building on what His Excellency was mentioned and what the Q&A, what the questions showed, obviously we're going through a lot of change. And I sense, I don't know, I hope I'm wrong, I sense that we all work in a defensive mode, in a kind of concerned mode, because yes, the OTTs are here. Yes, we can see the major impact of this, and we know that this is radically changing everything we do. As an example, just very recent example, it's an amazing thing that the borders between a ruler or a government and citizens and the people of the city are transformed. If we take the recent initiative of His Highness, where social media is used to engage citizens in two matters as crucial as health and education. So I think this is opening yet another door or another border. I stopped in front of this and saying it's yet another indication of the level and impact of change that is happening for individuals, for groups, communities, for companies, corporations, government, societies, nations at all, as a whole. And the best example is probably what happened since 2011 in countries that are not so, but within the spot of the world, in the Arab world. So the change is there, but I think it's good to look a little bit back. A lot of great things happened through the community, what we call the telco community. And with the telco community, we have as well to enlarge it. It's not only the operators, and I'm not saying this because in the first row there are three of our major partners from the suppliers and technology providers. Not only, I'm not saying this as a courtesy, but because technology carried the changes. The mobility story, if we look at this, the mobility story, which is a major thing, has been carried by our industry. And I think we need to be very proud of that. Having today as much people that are benefiting from mobility, as much as people that exist in globally, human beings existing globally, it's an achievement, the penetration of mobiles. So the debates are, of course, at an industry level. What do we do? How are we going to tackle revenue? But would we pretend to be surprised when, beyond this mobility, every single thing in our lives is impacted by the possibilities that our infrastructure is providing? Should we consider that it was a kind of, exclusive thing for us to be within this cake. It's only normal that other players, and we will see other players more and more coming and sharing, because I strongly believe that this cake in terms of revenue will become bigger and bigger. And there is not any reason to justify why we should be, or why we should claim or pretend to be kind of offended. I think we should be more creative. I think we should figure out how to do this. And as an industry, if we look, we have a lot of unique things, and I would like to list few. And building on this customer experience, just let's walk along this customer. First of all, when he just hear about our services, and I'll put the brand part because I'll be back after these 5 points I'm going to list. First of all, the easiness of reaching us. Customers can find our products and our services, or being able to pay in any place. So it starts with that. Second thing, everything that customers are doing today starts with a number and a SIM card. We do have this character, and I think we are not leveraging enough on that. When we think what WhatsApp did, building everything around the number, the phone number, and the contact list in this phone number, I think it's a brilliant idea. WhatsApp is typically something that should have come from the telco industry, but it's not in our DNA. It's articulated around something that is at the heart, which is the phone number. 3, our networks. I'm not talking generally the infrastructure, but the amount of information that we know about a customer based on our network. Not only we know where they are very precisely, but we know what they encounter. We know when there are encounter difficulties, when a call will be dropping, or they have difficulty. We can build on that to create different kind of customer experience. And this is yet to happen, because we have been enjoying, and probably your point, we have been a spoiled industry. We have been an industry enjoying high margins that other industries would envy us, and probably not feeling challenged enough until now. Now, it's not only at an industry level, but as well, these debates that are going on are at the level of nations and economies. I mean, we all hear the debates that are happening about global companies that are being a part of wealth generation within a country, but countries cannot through a tax regime or any other regime, because, so this is today a debate. This is a debate that European community is discussing, that other, about, well, add to this the security concern. Add to this the security concern that are expressed, where global companies are collecting information about persons, individuals, and this information is stored in places that are remotely, and all the debates that we are seeing exacerbated recently, but what we heard from some countries and the practices of some countries in terms of security. I mean, no need to remind you of that. These are still current debates. So there is an ongoing debate. I mean, there is an ongoing discussion, probably more uncertainties than certainties today, but the good thing is that the debate is ongoing, and I think that within this, we will see things building us progressively. I am sure that, I mean, if we look at it, this year, the internet is 20 years old. All of us have been one day 20. I mean, some of you ladies are not yet 20, but that's something that all of us, you will never be 20. Some of us have been 20, and we know that the internet is not a teenager. And by the way, I was yesterday in a conference where there was this discussion about how things were to happen before the internet and how things are now. Classical thing. And I just reminded myself, actually, even within the internet universe, we have seen various phases. We all remember the time when we used to go to the internet like we were going to a library. This was the era of the search engines, the Googles, the Yahoo. We used to go there just to get information. The mid-90s, and I was really privileged because in my job, I was in this business of the internet in the US in the mid-90s, where things, so it was just search engines. Then we started knowing this period where we were going to the internet like we go to a shop. Why? Because paying on the internet started to be possible and commercing on the internet. This is the era of the Amazons, etc. This is the early 2000s. The real revolution started mid-2000s, early 2000s, mid-2000s, the 2004-5, when people started going to the internet like we go sitting on a cafe. We were just going, chatting, and interacting and connecting. The social network era started. So even within the internet, we are seeing phases of evolution, phases of maturity, the debates that are happening within the internet. And one day I met someone that I knew in the very beginning of the internet. He was working with the group, at the time where and he just told me, talking about security, and he told me something, but you have to know something. When we built the internet, it was not at all built for this purpose. He told me, if you want really a secure internet, you should completely forget this and build completely a new standards, because TCP/IP is not built to have. So it tells you that it evolved beyond what people were expecting. Another example, Facebook. Facebook is a typical example where things really evolved completely beyond what was built and then started to build on a nucleus. Within this, I'd like, and I don't want to be long, I'd like to put my vision or what I think. He is scary, huh? He is scary. What I think will be the trends. Just food for thought. Hear what I was telling you. The type of debates we have in the office with the executive team, etc. And I wanted to open up today because I think this will enrich the discussion and probably will happen. And I'll start with the infrastructure, dear to my heart, and I know that a lot will have a discussion on that. I strongly believe that the more we will be going, infrastructure will become a utility. Not because of any economic equation, but because of, one, the extraordinary usage that will happen. I like to, and some of you have heard me mentioning probably a number that one day somebody told me, where we read in one of these reports, experts and consultant reports, in 2015, and 2015 is tomorrow. Just after I finish this session, I'm running because we're presenting our plans, taking us even at the end to 2016. So 2015, we are now trying precisely to know what will happen. In 2015, if you want to watch all video content crossing the internet networks in 1 second, it will take you 5 years to do so. So let's imagine this is not 5 years, let's imagine this is 3 years, regardless of the precision. But this trend is there, and this trend will not stop. Every minute, 50 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube. So we are going into that. what kind of infrastructure we will be able. I know that our partners, and I see here without no Huawei, NSN, Ericsson are sitting. I apologize if others are there that I did not. So, because these are the first row that I'm seeing. But I know that they are doing great things in order to make these networks being able to absorb more and more, to take more and more capacity. But I believe that something in the governance of that dimension will happen. That's one. Two, because of more and more need of security characteristics that governments will have. So I see that this will become a utility. I see more and more government, less and less competition in the infrastructure layer. When? I don't know. I see this happening faster than sooner than later, but nothing here, no one can say it. That's on the infrastructure part. And with infrastructure, it's not only the access network, it's as well the data centers, it's as well the hosting, because it is part of this security overall equation. Two, access. In access, I see an inevitable more and more competition, because the more you will go into applications that are touching broader and broader parts of our life, the more you will see players, maybe more specialized players. The more governments will become smarter, cities will become smarter, you will see probably a profusion of more players. And I see less and less government in that, and more competition in that. The other trend, as far as we're concerned, the pricing of data. We are yet, as an industry, to start this entire debate, and there are US operators are a little bit more evolved and have tried some models we can see, but I am sure that there is a lot to be done on the pricing of data. When I say pricing of data, it's as well involving capabilities that networks should be able to provide in order for us. I mean, if we look at the airline industry, the plane is flying their plane. Look at the amount of pricing schemes that you can get depending on when and how you use, etc. When we talk about video, when we talk about capacity consuming type of elements going in our network, I am sure that we need to be pricing this in a much more clever way than we are today. We are very linear and very homogeneous today in how we price. So that is another trend. Three, analytics. Related to this, we certainly will become companies, industry driven more and more by data. By data. And for that, we have a lot. How many of you consider really that they have a very robust, between all the platforms we have, from billing to CRM to network, etc. How many of us consider that we have an integrated business analytics system? I think very few. We all know that this is something we need to head to, so analytics. The fifth one is the digital. It has been mentioned in the question that my dear friend and colleague Khalifa mentioned, clearly that we need to have, how do we move? We need to move into occupying a certain space in this digital universe. And here, I don't see why we like to feel it on the defensive. It's true that the scale gave over-the-top players a great advantage, because if you look today, if you think, when was the last time you were seeing one of your kids, teenagers or even younger, arguing or having a passionate debate if they are using Du or Etisalat, Mobily or STC, Orange or SFR, Vodafone, or Mobinil, or Etisalat in Egypt. We don't see this. Those of us who really built network from scratch, in the beginning, it's a big, passionate discussion. You have do? No, I have Etisalat, I have do. But if you look today around you and your teenage kids, the major discussion that we have is, you moved to this, no, I'm still on BlackBerry, you're still on BlackBerry, how come? I moved to the Samsung. That's a passionate debate with detailed discussion about the features, what you can do. If it's not that, and months ago, if we go to the other side, months ago I attended a debate in the American University of Dubai with one of the founders of WhatsApp. Passionate debate about, no, I use WhatsApp, I use BBM. Why? Because in WhatsApp I don't like that. So the discussion on the device is passionate, bonded. The discussion on the application as well, in the middle, no. So this is where we are at risk, not only on the revenue streams part, we are at risk of having our brands becoming irrelevant. And I like to think that we have strong brands because they are completely in the local environment. We need to develop this. We need to really enforce that we are, because I am quite sure that what Google or what Facebook or what WhatsApp can offer will never be relevant as much as we can do Etisalat and do in the UAE other operators. And this is something that we need to build around customer experience. And that is at the end, that is to close on that. According to me, that is the articulation, that is the Trojan horse that we need to keep in our hand and we need to build on. We have a lot of work. It's very exciting time because of this transformation, but I want to express an act of faith. An act of faith, but a lot of humility. I think we have been a condescendent industry for years. I lived the era where I was working for years in one of the largest telcos in the world, the fourth largest telcos in the world at some point. And this is an industry that is very condescendent, the era of. And then I lived a time where I was a challenger, and you learn that how to move, how to do it differently. Now we are challenged by another industry. That's good. We need to exist in the space because digital, as much as I said, the ICT space doesn't belong only to telcos, and I said this is how could we expect, but as well the OTT space doesn't belong only to some players. We need to go in the space. I believe in consolidation, regional consolidation. Some of you have been hearing this message. I believe that in order for us to get scale and customer experience, there will be regional consolidation happening, because when it comes to content, when it comes to music, when it comes to entertainment, look at what some broadcasters are doing. Look at things like Arab's Got Talent, Arab Idol, and if somebody can tell me that there is no regional dimension in this, so this is why I believe we can be stronger in this, and this is a call that we really be proud of everything we did so far. We have been as well putting the rules. I mentioned the technology providers. I need to mention, and not because His Excellency is sitting as well in the front row, what regulators did in order to ensure the entire ecosystem is remarkable in the last decades of the development of this business. I think that the challenge ahead of us is very exciting. I'm very optimistic about the future of this industry. Thank you for
We'll take two
giving me this.
questions only, please. We'll take only two questions, please. If you have any questions.
So Osman, I have a question. When you talk about the new role that the telcos can play within this new digital, I would say, services ecosystem, recently we were in an event in the Silicon Valley talking about this integrated approach and showing even demos, etc. on it. Well, for example, all of it was about, if we look at the digital, the digital delivery chain, it was about telcos exposing the role that telcos were playing in that, were exposing their connectivity packages and offering this to third parties, like, for example, music service providers or health service providers, to then build other products on top of the connectivity and then deliver this to the end subscriber. But if we stick to this scheme, that will restrict the telcos into, again, only connectivity providers to others in order for them to, to other industries, for them to bundle offers on top. So how do you see this being the role played by the, the Du and the Etisalat, etc., in this future ecosystem, or do you see it differently? Do you see yourself just exposing connectivity packages for others to come and deliver services on top of it, or do you see yourself playing a different role in order to grab a little bit more value in this value chain?
Okay. The very, very valid question, and there is not one answer. Why is that? In this layering scheme, infrastructure, access, digital distribution and digital payment, content, app provider, I think each and every telco will have depending on their DNA, where they would put the emphasis. Some telcos will decide, we want to make our dump pipe as smart as possible and build an economic equation. You will see people with different investors in these operators that are more focused on the infrastructure part. Why is that? Because your boards, your shareholders, your investors are probably not ready for the risk-taking or, depending on the risk appetite, to position in each infrastructure layer its predictable return, long-term return. As I said, probably less and less competition, so more like utility type of. So there will be a need to define yourself. This presence that we had, where we are on all the chain, because this is what we used to do for years. We are on all the chain, and we only know how to charge access per subscriber, is changing completely. Others are monetizing audiences, others are monetizing content, etc. So we need to define how we move. And I think this is a question that I personally, because of the history of Du, to be very, very open, and some of the people here in the company, in my company, would heard me saying this. I would gladly be out of the infrastructure play if there is a player who is offering me the infrastructure to me and to others with the same SLAs, with good wholesale prices. I'll be out of the infrastructure. I'll focus more on things but that is the DNA, in my opinion. Some of them will be, all the people working in the technology department in Du will freak out when I say this, because no, we are. Hatem Bematraf left because of this when he heard me. He was in charge of the network. Hatem Bematraf, the next day he was out. As I said, but that is, again,
he's waiting for this
in
5 months happen.
In all humility, it's not me to take the score. It's the shareholders, because I might propose things to move in this ICT space that could be beyond the risk appetite of my current shareholders. Fair enough. This is why I'm saying there is not. I give you one example to answer this question. Take what Vodafone, almighty Vodafone, did. In Japan, they were in the business of telco as standard. They failed in Japan. Who took over? SoftBank. SoftBank, they used to come from the internet space. SoftBank now is in the US, and SoftBank is intending to expand differently in the US. They're going in the distribution. They just acquired Brightstar. So a completely different approach because they want to be different risk appetite, different positioning. Since 2006 until now, the entire market capitalization of the telcos evolved by 11%. Market cap from 2006 to now. Okay, that was the crisis. The market capitalization of the internet players in the same period upped by 121%. So depending where do you want what return, it's more of an ecosystem that you need to.
Osman, you're very passionate about the customer experience. And what we see is marginal innovation, and we don't see disruption in that space.
Absolutely.
There is humongous scope for disruption, but there seems to be an inertia to take that leap of faith and call it a risk appetite or call it just fear of the unknown. What is it that is stopping us to make that big leap or even marginal innovation sometimes?
I will have, I'm thinking if I should answer completely openly or make the diplomatic type of answer. It is the pressure of your EBITDA of the next quarter. We are yet to say, listen, disruption in customer experience, will take it there. It is maybe the laziness, lack of courage to say, I'm disrupting. I'm going to the shareholders, tell them, you know what, it will cost 2 points of EBITDA for next year, but I'm selling you the longer future. It's the pressure of the quarter by quarter type of things. And that is not the diplomatic answer. That's the very open, straightforward answer. If you want the diplomatic, I have.
Thank you. Last question.
Hi, Tony. Yeah, Noel Kukulli from NSN. Osman, I've been pleased to be able to work with you in a number of journeys in your career so far. I just want to talk...
From the very beginning of Marginal, your time in Motorola.
Obviously now with NSN, you talked about some of the challenges you had. You talked about us as an industry going back to the utility as if it's a step backwards, as if it's a challenge. Could we just quick look at some of those utilities? What do we do with electricity? What do we do with water? They're metered services. When we look at moving into where we are now, surely we now have the technologies to provide good voice, good data, and good video services. Should we not be going back to the basics of billing, of metering for these services? And I think some operators, you alluded to it, in North America and Asia are already going to this model, and ARPUs have gone up, where they're going flat rate voice, flat rate texting, but they're billing for the metering, so for the data usage. And I think minutes to bytes is where we are in the industry. And there's tremendous opportunities there for us to then amortize these services, and because we're adding value, I think, in the basics of it, just in that billing side, for the metering side, and then reward customers when they want to hit their caps to move to the next caps. I think there's a tremendous opportunity for now, and obviously into the next panel as well. I think there's some fundamentals that we can do as an industry to help ourselves, and OTT doesn't become the hindrance, becomes the ability to partner and to fill those pipes and provide that value to our customers and allow us to have continuity back. Thank you.
I couldn't agree more. No, true. True. That's actually combining two things when I said about if we distinguish between the infrastructure part and then the access part, where you work on your pricing and you go to this metering, but you go as well to understanding better, because there are premium things that you can charge then on ad hoc basis. Absolutely.
That's done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. See you in the evening, yeah?